hard to say without saying it the wrong way, so I don't want it to be misinterpreted as to how and why I'm saying this, you know. The unfortunate part about, you know, in Medford alone, okay, so I'll talk about Medford because that's where we're at, you know. We have a newspaper that sometimes it just doesn't hit the mark at all. We have one that's it's a week late. You know, have another one that subscribes to a computer-based inventory, and it really doesn't.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It doesn't give you the real flavor as to, you know, to what is being said and how it's said or why it's said. You know, do they go for the dramatics of it? And sometimes they just won't even print anything, and you'll even wonder, did this meeting ever take place? You know, and that to me presents itself as the saddest part of being an elected official. You know, and it's just.
You get the patch now. Somerville News wants to come in with Medford Weekly News. Have you seen that?
No.
It's not generating many hits.
No.
So Donald at Somerville News is a real estate guy. So the Somerville newspaper, have you ever seen it, Somerville News?
No. Somerville Journal, I've seen that.
This is Somerville News, is
Okay.
Donald from, he dates back to 1979 at Somerville Public Access along with me.
Mm-hmm.
So we're two of the oldest in the country that are still standing. And Donald has his newspaper where he puts his real estate ads, and he sells, if he sells a house, he's turned a profit,
Okay.
even though it's a separate business.
Right.
So that model works for him. So now he's expanded to kind of, he's got about 30 communities, and Medford's one of them, Medford Weekly News. So it might emerge, maybe we'll have another voice along with the Patch, the Medford Transcript, the Medford Daily Mercury, Alice and Goldsberry's Inside Medford, and there's even stragglers like JimmyMorse.com. I love Jimmy. You know, he does his thing from Medford, and Doreen Wade has her New England Informer. But there's no traction. I'd like to see fierce competition between these papers. Wouldn't that be healthy?
Well, back in the old days when you had the Medford Mercury, I mean, that was great. Whether you liked them or disliked them, you know, I mean, they were there every day, and they printed exactly, you know, the news. Then you
when they were physically in the city.
Yeah, when they were physically in the city. You know, Al Frezza was he was the editor, and he did a great job. And it was interesting, you know. I mean, they had their favorites, you know, but
it happens. Did you know Phil Santoro when he was at the paper?
Yeah, he used to be, he worked for the Mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the Verizon media guy now.
Yes. Yeah.
So I put a phone call into him this morning, and I put a phone call into him yesterday, but they were fine talking to me 2 months ago. Now about this 180 days, no one wants to tell me anything. City Council's on Tuesday.
Right.
I think the City Council meeting has to be broadcast.
Well, it is. It is on channel. It's on channel 22 now. Comcast went from 16 to 22, but Verizon should have the same opportunity.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
And you look better on 22. It's clearer. 16 seemed to have problems. I don't know what the channel designation does to make something improve,
right.
Or maybe they upgraded.
I don't know what it takes. I don't know what the big to-do is with all your computer equipment, just to have Verizon being in the same building as City Hall with its modulator and its, you know, I don't know.
They all piggyback off each other. Right. Certain cities will have Comcast providing for Time Warner or
right.
whatever. Why they can't piggyback this issue, I don't know.
Well, there's a movement from the western part of the country over here that they're going to be they're inter-employing. In other words, a Comcast person will work for Verizon, you know, to do the services and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw that in an article. They're thinking about doing it, and if it works, both companies will be saving a lot of money, and once again, it's your service. It's money.
Do you know every year Verizon goes to the State House, and you know they're lobbying to have all the public access be administered by the state and not go town to town?
Oh, no.
That's not good.
No.
Some of the states have got it through, actually. And what happens is towns like Winchester and Stoneham and Winthrop, where we have vibrant access, Somerville, will lose out. So I'm a member in Cambridge. I have 5 memberships. I'm a member in Wakefield because it runs on Verizon in Medford. Hudson is on Verizon in Medford. So Hudson's now broadcasting my show. So you'll be on these contiguous channels, so people will see this on Verizon in Medford. But every year Verizon goes up there. So Cambridge, about 3 or 4 years ago, asked me to go speak. The town manager of Burlington, do you know his name? I mean, Bill Ricca. He used to be the Woburn mayor. Curran, John Curran. Did you know him?
No.
So Cambridge asked me to go speak at the Beacon Hill, and I went there, and John Curran was speaking. There were lines and lines of people, so I knew Verizon wouldn't get anywhere. So I went and talked to Paul Donato. I went over and saw him in his office, and, hey, Paul, how are you? Every year, Verizon's going to Beacon Hill. I guess they're going back there this year. And every year, Public Access gets its forces and fight them to shoot it down. And Verizon knows they'll lose this year and next year, but we're worried that 3 or 4 years from now, they might have enough people.
What would the purpose be?
Purpose be not to go to Winchester Town Hall to negotiate your public access contract, to just go to the governor.
So who would be running the shows?
Then Access would probably lose funding because none of these cable providers want. Right now, Comcast and RCN fight with us only because they want parity. At a certain point, they'll team up with Verizon.
So why, if we follow that, why would we be paying any kind of a percentage or a dollar amount in my monthly cable bill?
They don't want.
If it's going to go to the state. So you're asking the subscriber to pay for the state to run,
There you go. It's a whole can of worms. But in certain states, they've pushed this through.
Right.
We're vigilant here in Massachusetts because we don't want this. WinCam does a great job, and $25 is cheap to join to get equipment. South Hamilton, you don't even have to join. You can have shows played, and I think Burlington's absolutely free. So if you live in Burlington, you've got RCN, Verizon, and Comcast, and you get the equipment and everything absolutely free.
Now, do you have 3 public access channels over there?
Yeah.